John Barrymore was a legendary Hollywood actor who started out in the era of silent films and managed to be just as successful when films with sound were introduced. This made John stand out from many of his silent film contemporaries, though the actor didn't have such great luck later in life. As a result of alcoholism, John suffered greatly in the later years of his life. Join Facts First as we explore how John Barrymore's final years were downright humiliating. John Barrymore's early life. John Barrymore was born in Philadelphia in 1882 and was the youngest child born into a showbiz family. His parents were stage actors named Maurice and Georgina Drew. They used the name Barrymore as a stage name, and this is how the name came to John. John was the youngest of 3 siblings, having an older brother Lionel and an older sister Ethel. These siblings eventually followed in their parents' footsteps and became performers. The 3 Barrymore kids would put on plays at home, with the older siblings playing the protagonists and young John playing the villain. John never minded being forced into the villainous role, as it allowed him to flex his young acting muscles in a way he wouldn't have otherwise. Perhaps this is why he ended up finding more success as an actor than his 2 siblings. In 1893, when John was 11, his mother passed away. Their father, who was often away performing in touring productions, then raised John and his siblings alone. When their father was on tour, John and his siblings could be found in the care of relatives. John continued to dream of becoming an actor, but a darkness was growing inside him that would begin to show its head during his teen years. John showed his first signs of hedonism as a teen. John attended a prestigious prep school in Maryland. In 1898, when he was 16, he was expelled from the school. He had apparently snuck into a brothel. He turned 18 just after the turn of the century, and that was also the same year he made his acting debut. This was in a play called A Man of the World, directed by his father. Though John was flirting with becoming an actor, he still had other dreams. He decided he wanted to become an artist, which led him to attend the Art Student League in New York City. Following this, John could be found working for a brief period of time as an artist drawing sketches for the New York Evening Journal. After a while, however, he decided that acting ran too deep in his veins. Following his debut in 1900, John Barrymore returned to the stage in 1903 with a much more prominent role in a production called Magda. He premiered in the play in October in Chicago. Following this successful tenure, he went on to tour the country in a variety of productions, all while increasing his profile. Around that time, he had to witness the tragic downfall of his father. John's father had a mental breakdown on stage, which led to him being institutionalized. It was later revealed John's father was suffering from syphilis. Not long after, he passed away. Before we tell you more, be sure to give this video a like and subscribe to Facts First if you haven't already. John watched his father have a public breakdown. John was in the audience when his father had his aforementioned mental breakdown on stage, though he was in London when his father passed. He had traveled there to broaden his horizons as a stage actor, and ended up doing so by acting in numerous prominent productions of Shakespeare plays. He returned to America in 1906. With his newfound acting experience, the actor quickly took Broadway by storm. He had numerous successes on Broadway, with the most notable being his role in 1909's The Fortune Hunter. But John soon realized his future didn't lie on stage, but in the burgeoning film industry. His aforementioned older brother Lionel got into the film industry in 1911. John quickly followed in his older brother's footsteps, with the actor making his debut on the screen in 1914. The screen debut came via a production called An American Citizen. The next year, John was given the chance to reprise a Broadway role from a decade prior in 1915's The Dictator. World War I came around, and John attempted to serve but was prohibited from doing so on account of varicose veins. This didn't hurt his credibility much, as he continued to be one of the most popular stars in the relatively new film industry. As John became a major star in silent films, he also continued acting on stage. But the actor eventually decided he wanted to dedicate the majority of his time to films. His main reason was that it didn't require him to tour. During the 1920s, he solidified his transition to film star and could be found appearing in such silent classics as Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and Sherlock Holmes. John survived the introduction of talkies. Most silent film actors were forced into retirement once films started incorporating sounds, as they didn't have the voices to match their physical demeanors. This wasn't the case for John, who ended up becoming more popular than ever once talkies became the new norm. Sadly, this success didn't last. Following his performance in the hit 1930 film Moby Dick, the actor was relegated to supporting roles for the rest of the 30s. Ever since the incident with the brothel during his teen years, John Barrymore remained a man who enjoyed seeking pleasure. As an adult, he turned to the bottle and never turned away. By the late 30s, he was drinking far more often than he was working. The once good-looking celebrity gradually grew to resemble a potato as his body bloated and his face hardened. Around this time, it was said the actor's memory had deteriorated so significantly he needed cue cards to remember lines from plays he had performed hundreds of times. Some actors in Barrymore's position would have chosen to remain out of the spotlight and fade away with dignity. But John chose to let the public see just how much his years of alcohol abuse had destroyed his body. John attempted to remain in the spotlight until his dying days, and this saw him doing some pretty humiliating things. The end of John's life was humiliating. Some of the humiliating things John could be found doing included making a public spectacle of himself on stage and on the radio, as well as appearing in low-budget schlock. He returned to the stage in 1939, appearing in a production called My Dear Children. It found its audience, though the audience was there for the wrong reason. Instead of being interested in the play itself, the audience was interested in seeing John struggle to maintain his semblance of sanity. The actor couldn't remember any of his lines and was forced to ad-lib the majority of each performance. On radio, he could be found making a fool of himself on the Fleischmann's Yeast Hour, which is a radio show hosted by Rudy Vallee. These appearances showed that John had a sense of humor about his dwindling celebrity status, but that didn't make the situation any less humiliating. Finally, John made an appearance in a schlocky 1941 comedy called Playmates before passing away in 1942. To make matters worse, his corpse ended up being stolen by one of his old buddies. According to famous granddaughter Drew Barrymore, some legendary performers stole Barrymore's body from the morgue. These were W.C. Fields, Errol Flynn, and Sadakichi Hartman. The legendary performers stole his body so they could throw one last poker party with the man. Now it's time to hear from you. What's your favorite memory of John Barrymore? Let us know in the comments section below. And before you go, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to Facts First if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content. By the way, if you haven't joined Facts First as a member yet, be sure to look below this video and click the join button. By becoming a paid member of Facts First, you'll get access to exclusive video content that you won't find anywhere else. This includes some of our more mature content that isn't suitable for public audiences, which includes topics like Hollywood actresses who posed for Playboy and some of the steamiest moments in movie history. Plus, you can enjoy these videos completely ad-free. Our biggest fans will notice they also get badges next to their name when they leave comments on our videos. We pay special attention to comments from our members, and so do other viewers. So if you want exclusive content from Facts First or inside access to discussions with other community members, click the join button to get started for just $4.99. There are hours of members-only videos waiting for you, with new videos added every month. And we're actively working on bringing even more features to help fans like you connect with other members and get more of your favorite content. Just click join, and we'll see you inside the membership tab.